this is hopefully to give you a start, at least creating a roadmap and seeing that this potentially is something that you can do at home. I did it all. Like, me starting my business, I did all of this on my own. And then I went to my accountant and he was like, well, you did it right. It was shockingly, but I would not recommend that for everybody.
Right.
This is like years and years of research. And I have a background in financial consultancy and business consultancy. So I helped a bunch of people set up their businesses, got to a point where I realized, I've helped a bunch of people start businesses and still haven't registered my own. What am I doing? So take this process for what you will, how you will, whatever. And if you're someone that's like, hey, I'm going to start an electric car company and I need to put together a C Corp or an S Corp or an S Corp or a holding company with 15 different disregarded entities underneath it, that might not be a job that you necessarily might want to take on yourself. You might want to make sure that you have a tax professional to sit down with you and make sure that you're doing all these things right.
Because that's just a lot to handle by yourself.
Yeah. It from personal experience, it is. But the reason why I did it too is so that I can help people. You know what I mean? And so that I'm confident in what I'm doing. That I go, hey, the moment I have an idea or a business idea and I feel that, okay, I need to make it a business entity, I can immediately start doing that. I don't need to wait on my accountant to like come back from vacation or whatever. So not that there's anything wrong with that. That's another thing too about the whole business world. A lot of it, especially Uncle Sam, is like very forgiving of being like, hey, yeah, I get it. You saw dollars and you went after them. And now you're getting to the point where you're like hiring people to make these things right. Do not, just because you don't have an accountant yet or have a tax preparer or whoever, don't let that be a deterrent, because you can always find those people. And Uncle Sam, I think even within business, like your first 3 years, you're allowed to record losses. And I don't even know, I'm pretty sure it's encouraged that you file your taxes every year. But if you say your first year, you're just sort of getting your shit together and you're like, oh, it's been a year and a half and now we realize we should have filed taxes last year or whatever. Get your people together then and start doing that. Don't let it be something that keeps you from doing it or makes you like leave the industry altogether. Same with contracts and stuff too. A lot of people don't realize like any contract typically, don't just go sign any contract either. But like typically any contract you sign yourself into, you can basically sign yourself out of. There's nothing. Yeah,
there's always room for growth and changing it and, having more stipulations and changing
reevaluating the contract.
Yeah, or breaking it. There's a lot of contracts where they will have it where like, so especially in the industry I'm in, right? Because I'll sign artists. I cannot just be like, everything you make for the rest of your life is mine forever and ever. And like, no judge is going to enforce that. They're like, that's slavery. Like there's not a legally enforced. It's like the terms of your contract are ridiculous. Some contracts though, if you guys have gone through a full-blown negotiation, a judge is going to be like, well, hey, like you should have known. So like I said, you got to be highly selective about what you do. But, we keep getting further away from things. So let's get your guys' businesses set up. At least we'll start doing that. Glizzy, will you do me a favor? Am I still rolling on this camera? I don't know. We've got 3 cameras in the room. Like I said, we're gonna do our best to get all this stuff.
There's 3?
Yeah. So there's one right here,
one
full on.
I didn't even see that one behind your head.
Yeah, then one over here. Is it where you hit the on-off switch? Or the battery might be dead on it, and I can give you another one. And we'll hopefully do our best to kind of cut the technical difficulties of this stuff out, either through editing or just when it goes up. But, yeah, let's go ahead and get started on setting up your guys' business. So you guys decided on, are you going to do Raw and Unfiltered? Are you going to do S&M Industries? Or are you going to do something that's
Raw
more
Industries?
Okay.
Raw Industries.
Raw Industries. Okay. So like I said, we're here in Idaho. You guys are going to register with the Secretary of State of Idaho. So the girls have a laptop pulled up, and I'm going to sort of walk through them on my laptop, what they have going on. So for those of you who can maybe see, actually, no, I'm not even going to bother attempting it. Maybe we'll like stitch in like a screen capture later on.
You might be able to do like a screenshot kind of thing.
So, and if not, tough shit. Like we're getting there, but hopefully
we'll
you
get
can.
there.
Yeah, hopefully they can maybe even maybe follow along on their own computers. Maybe you want to go to the same website that we're going to is sos.idaho.gov. Wherever you live, typically will have some sort of similar website. It's just your Secretary of State's office. And typically your Secretary of State deals with like government services, like healthcare directives and like address confidentiality and like registering your will and a bunch of other bullshit. They also will deal with like elections and different things. And then they will typically offer like their business services. If your Secretary of State does not offer that, get a hold of either your state or county or local government and ask them who does handle that. So, sorry, I stepped away from my mic to grab Glizzy a battery. No one like filled into the dead silence. Like the girls just stared at me. So we're all pulled up on this website. Madison is running the girls' laptop over there. So you're on the same thing as well?
Yes.
Okay. So.
Yes, sir. let me get closer to my mic.
Okay. So there should be a tab that says business services.
Yes.
Right.
I see that.
So what you can do too with your business, you can always search to see if someone has taken the name that you're going to use, or you can just go to business filings. There's also stuff like trademark filings, trademark search. They're typically, like I said, Idaho does a great job of basically kind of alley-ooping like the business stuff for you as a new business owner. They try to like put like all your files and forms that you might need in one spot. Your like little like FA, or what is that? What is it? Frequently asked questions? FAQ? I've heard this. Yeah. Frequently asked questions stuff. A lot of times I have like notary stuff or like that in the same place. I cannot speak to California or whoever state that whoever is trying to register their business on how their website is or isn't, but at least the one in Idaho is very succinct and very nice. So you can go up to business filings and click on that. And so there should be a couple different tabs. And the very first one on the left says business services, and it says search for business, business forms, file annual report, amend business, name governors, dissolve, reinstate, update address, update registered agent, and then terminate business. So Idaho does a good job of sort of like offering kind of like all the things you could, everything that you kind of need. And this is something that we didn't get into just yet. So typically, and like I said, check with your local state, county, whatever laws. More often than not in the United States, businesses need to have what's called a registered agent. All a registered agent is, and typically your accountant or whatever could do this, or for you guys, I could be your registered agent because I'm registered as a registered agent in the state of Idaho. But all a registered agent is an entity where a real person exists. It's a real address. It's a real business address where if you are sued or some other legal action or legal notice needs to...
They know where to send the bill.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And so a lot of times you can file to be your own registered agent. It might require you... typically, I do not believe it can be your home address. It has to be a physical business address outside of like your...
Non-residential.
Right. But... You'd have to look into that because some people work from home, and I'm sure there's somebody right now laughing in my face who's like, I'm a registered agent and I work from home in my living room or whatever.
Or you might be able to do it through a PO box or something like that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, but you need to have a registered agent. There's a lot of places that will do it or charge you like $100 or $1,000 or whatever. If you have an accountant, more often than not, your accountant could be your registered agent. And I would encourage you that if your accountant is like, oh yeah, that's $100 to be your registered agent, I would find a different accountant. Like it's something that I typically would find that they should offer that service for free, or something like very small, like $100 or something like that. For the girls, I will just do that for free. If you want a registered agent, I'll be yours. I don't. It literally, it costs me nothing to do it. So, so what I think you should do very first and foremost is, I'm just looking on here, making sure there's nothing I'm missing. Is just search for the business.
Okay.
And see if there's anything under that name of what you're looking to be. Because if that's the case, then you're going to have to figure out something else.
Yeah, Raw Industries might be something just because of like Raw, the actual company, or even wrestling.
Yeah, because
Raw is a very it's a common term. So
I doubt they have something registered in the state of Idaho, but you never know.
That's true. Oh, okay, so it isn't just nationwide, it is state by state basis. So that's kind of cool. It gives you more options.
Yeah, like if you wanted to name this is like kind of like a funny thing. If you wanted to name yourself Google in your state, you probably could.
That's funny.
Because Google is not registered as like, unless, I don't know their legal team, what they have.
Yeah, they're like,
Well, no, because that's when trademarks and stuff get into play and shit. So it's like if you start using names and stuff that aren't yours, they can sue you for that. So.
Potentially, but sometimes not. Sometimes like there's someone right now who's probably called like Apple or Apple Cookies or whatever, and they're in Massachusetts and Apple fucking hates them, but they can't do anything about it.
Fair enough.
Because Massachusetts is like, nah, bro.
Yeah, I didn't.
You didn't register with us as a business. You're nothing special. That's kind of the cool thing about business too. You start realizing like once you're a business, you can start talking to other businesses and start doing what they call B2B, business to business, like relations and things like that. You can secure a lot of deals and do a lot of stuff where you'd never, like if you're not a people person, you don't necessarily ever have to have customers that are, whatever,
face to face with you kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you could deal with large corporate there's lots of people who do that, deal with large corporate entities, or they offer like training programs. Like they'll go into some place like RC Willey or Hertz Rent a Car and be like, hey, what's going on with your staff? Like what's your guys' hiring rate? What's your retention rate? I have a system that's gonna help you keep more clients or employees or whatever, and they just sell them some multi-million-dollar contract of retraining, and that's their business. They don't ever have to deal with people who are like, hey, what's up with my card and blah blah blah, like whatever customers bitch about or whatever. So if I were you, I'd look and see if your business has been.
So Raw Industries does not have.
Yeah, I don't see it.
No, we're good.
So that's great. That is a step in the right direction, knowing that no one has taken your business name in the state that you are looking to do it in. Underneath where it says search for a business, it says business forms. So if you click on business forms, you'll see where it says domestic corporations, and then it is broken down into like three things. So articles of incorporation, where it says general business corporation. Right next to it says articles of incorporation nonprofit. And then right next to that, it says articles of incorporation professional services corporation. So what that means, the general business corporation is like us, right? We want to start any regular business selling a good or service. More than likely, what we need to do if we're going to be a corporation or be incorporated, we need to file what are called articles of incorporation. Those are basically what we file with the state of Idaho or whatever state that you're with, and that tells them, hey, we are a corporation of some kind. We are not just a sole prop or whatever. And these are the like corporate bylaw. It basically creates that corporate veil for you. Now, if you're a nonprofit, like you're a charity of some kind, which I like, once again, talk to your accountant, whoever, because I am not a nonprofit. I'm not against it, but a lot of times you need tons and tons of funding and stuff that's kind of like above and beyond me at this moment in time. And I do not have that charitable of a bent, right? Like I'm in business to make money, not necessarily I believe in capitalism, in that I can make a business and have the business make money, and I can still give money away to a profitable or charitable cause at some given point in time. But some people just want to do nonprofits. Like they want to start, like Susan B. Cancer Foundation or whatever. So forgive me for those of you who are down that route at this very moment in time, that I do not have the information to give you guys on that end. I just know it's something that you can do. But if you're making a nonprofit, talk to your, talk to your tax professional, your accountant, all that. And then right next to it where it says articles of incorporation, professional services corporation. So professional services is stuff like you have to have a degree for, like a lawyer, an accountant, a CPA. Though there's a couple other industries, I forget what they are. Those are considered professional services, where you have to be not only registering your business a certain way, but you have to have certain certifications through the state, like hit like certain boards. You know what I'm saying? Like you got like with lawyers, they have to pass the bar exam. I think doctors, if you're going to do like a private practice, you'd be considered a professional services corporation. So there's that. And that's just for the corporation. Underneath that, it says domestic limited liability company. So it says certificate of organization limited liability company. So like I said, there's LLCs, and then there are S corps and C corps, which are typically tax electives, telling the government which way they should tax you as an S corp or a C corp, even though you're a corporation or an LLC. Articles of incorporation and your certificate of organization, and it's like I said, it's been a while since I've done this, so forgive me if I'm giving you guys false information, but to my recollection, all of that is basically like the same thing. Okay. It's just a different filing of it. Like corporations have articles of incorporation, LLCs have certificates of organization.
Right.
Same thing, different wording. And then underneath that it says domestic partnerships. So that was something that you guys had explored, but you guys had decided that you're not going to go down that route. Once again, you basically, when you are filing your articles of incorporation or your certificate of organization, and there's some other name I'm forgetting. What those do are basically saying like, this is who we are as a business. This is where we're located. This is the rules of our business. This is our, so the word I was looking for is operating agreement. Your operating agreement basically says, this is what we do. This is how we make money. This is like who is in charge of what to a certain degree. Like this is the person who owns the company. This is the CEO. This is our board members. How you guys have a multi-member LLC. It's going to be like, okay, Madison owns this much. Sierra owns this much. This is what that percentage grants, what powers are granted to you within that because of whatever percentage you hold of the company. And then underneath that, it says certificate of assumed business name, ABN, application for reservation of legal entity name, and application for registration of foreign name. I believe those are just basically like how DBAs are. The application for reservation of legal entity name, I cannot speak to because I believe that's probably in the professional services field. And then the application for registration of foreign name, I believe, if I remember correctly, that is if like you're registering a business in whatever particular state you're in, but you're wanting to do business like overseas or whatever. I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, talk to your accountant about that. What I'm going to try and do is sort of cover the two main business electives that most people would either go by. You're going to be a sole prop more than likely, or you're going to be an LLC with an S corp or C corp tax election. So basically what you guys would have to do is file your certificate of organization of limited liability company. And so when we click on this too, it tells you there's a filing fee of about $100. And then it says to file this document, you need the name and address of your registered agent and the name/titles and addresses of your governors. So the governors are the people who essentially are running the business.
Right.
Yeah. Running the business.
The multi-members of the,
Yeah. And so there are, within corporations, there's two separate kinds of the ways to manage it. There are member managed LLCs, and then there are manager or governor managed LLCs. So a member managed LLC is where you go in and you start the business yourself, and you are also the person who runs and operates the business. A member or a governor or manager managed LLC is one where you start the business, you own it, and then you start hiring people to run certain things in place of you doing that. So say you started a tech company or whatever, right? A bakery or something like that. And you're like, okay, cool. I own this entity, but I am not the guy who is making the decision for the business day to day. I own it and I have the final call, or maybe you don't. It depends how you set up the business, but you have put people in place to run the company. So,
give me 1 second here. I have to create an account
so that's another thing too. So when you go to the Secretary of State's website of whatever particular state you're in, you're probably have to create an account that's specific to you, because they're going to want to make sure that when you're starting to fill out these forms, that you're not just like losing information if you exit out of the website or whatever.
And it'll just be more organized if we get it with the work email, so that we make sure we don't miss anything.
Yeah.
I'm horrible at checking my personal email.
Yeah, and that's something too I would definitely encourage you guys. Like,
that's what I was going to say, is I'm going to make one for us right now.
We have an email.
Where?
rawunfilteredpodcast@gmail.com.
Oh, is it Gmail?
Yeah, that's why I gave you this.
Oh, okay. I didn't. Okay.
Yeah, we already have an email address. It's already set up. And our password is raw unfiltered.
Hell yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I had to make a second one because I had it like something Sierra and Madison. I'm like, no, what am I doing? Just like put the name of the podcast. And then I put my crazy password that's like 20 digits long. I'm like, no, that was a mistake, ma'am.
No. That's something too. You guys will start realizing when you get into business. A lot of times when someone's like, "Hey, what's your email?" and you're like, "Oh, it's Deb and Donnie's red cherry stand or whatever," and you're
Literally
make
awkward.
make it simple, make things short. You'll thank yourself. Same with your passwords. Don't just use your birth date or whatever, but use stuff that no one's gonna guess, but something that's not like 9,000 characters either. Or do that. I mean, it's up to you. Your security is your security as far as what you will do, but I would encourage you. Like I worked for a company. I don't know if I should say that. Well, okay. So, I'll change the name of the company. Let's call it like Smithsonian's, whatever. But so when I worked for this company, I worked in an industry where we sold glass and mirrors and windows and stuff. And people would call in and need to send me something like an email or
Is this
whatever.
all capitalized or not?
They would have to send me an email or whatever, and they would ask for the email to send it in, and I'd have to tell them like, oh, it's Smithsonian's glass and mirror at gmail.com, and they'd be like, okay, Smithsonian's glass and mirror, and you end up realizing it's like 9 words on front of at gmail.com. It's a lot simpler just to go like Dark One or Debbie One or whatever, or like raw and unfiltered. You could put RNF at Gmail. But that'll be up to you. So while the girls are doing that and registering or logging into their emails or whatever, what they would normally be doing is clicking on the Articles of Incorporation. And this is the same thing. We were just looking at the Certificate of Organization Limited Liability Company, the Articles of Incorporation, General Business Corporation. Same thing, at least in our state of Idaho. It's a $100 filing fee. It says to file this document, you need the name and addresses of your registered agent and the names and titles and addresses of your incorporators and directors. So let me just make sure I'm logged in. Yeah. So I don't know if that's going to be. And I'm just clicking around, just sort of looking at the different business offerings so that maybe I can figure out which one is probably best for the girls. Because it's been a while since I've been on this website. Glizzy's audio is getting captured in the corner. Yeah, so it looks like more than likely the girls will be clicking on the Certificate of Organization for a Limited Liability Company. It looks like the standard filing fee, at least here in this state, it's $100. There's an expedited one where you can pay an extra $40 and it will get it done faster. And then there's a same day service, which is an additional $100. Honestly, I don't see any reason for you guys to be in that sort of rush. But some of you might. I don't know out there in podcast world what's going on with you guys, why you would immediately have to have a company up and running and going. But maybe you do, and a lot of times, or at least in the state that we're in, that's something that's offered. And then so underneath that, it says limited liability company name. Companies can be organized using a name that does not conflict with an existing entity on our records. Like I said, typically that's within the state that you are in. And then it says type of limited liability company, limited or a professional. And these girls obviously are not going to be, or excuse me, ladies are not going to be doing a professional service. Neither one of them are accountants or lawyers. So we'll more than likely just pick a limited liability company. And then it asks a previously filed reserve name will be used for this filing, yes or no. And because this is a brand new entity, they're going to hit no. And then it asks you for the name of the limited liability company. It says limited liability company name must be distinguishable on the records of the Idaho Secretary of State. The name must contain the words limited liability company, limited company, or the abbreviation LLC, LC, or LLC. If the entity is a professional limited liability company, the name must contain the words professional limited liability company or the abbreviation PL, LC, or PLLC. So all you accountants out there, lawyers going into business for yourselves, make sure that you click on professional and that you add those abbreviations. The podcast is going to be looking for people to come on. I have kind of, I guess, to plug next episode, I have a guy, his name's Josh. He's with a company called Free Water. You can check them out at www.freewater.io. And they're a company that's actually giving away free water to the world. They're going to be doing a lot more other things, free water, free cars, free energy drinks, and essentially just breaking the business model of most traditional businesses out there. But at least in this podcast, I wanted to give you guys an understanding of basic business, how to kind of get started in business, doing whatever it is that you do. And then if you guys continue this journey with us down this path of business ownership, entrepreneurship, and you start to look to do things that are going to break the traditional business models of your industry, or you're going to start to give products away for free, or even pay customers to be customers, if you can even call them customers, I guess, at that point, because I don't know what you call someone who you give stuff to that doesn't pay you.
Yeah, for real, that's different.
But these things exist, and especially with the world nowadays and how it's changing and all the new technologies, especially with cryptos and NFTs, there's a lot of things that can be done.
So I am good with that. We can do our limited liability company.
Yes.
I have never previously filed.
Yes. So you'll be clicking on forms, and then you're going to go to certificate of organization, limited liability company. Mm-hmm. And you're going to click file online. Mm-hmm. And then up at the top, it will say standard filing fee, 100 clams.
Yep.
So you'll click that, and then you'll go down below where it says limited liability company or professional limited liability company. And you will click on limited liability company. And then it'll say a previously filed reserved name will be used for this filing. Yes or no. I would click no.
Oh, hold on. There it goes. It wasn't letting me scroll for some reason. Okay.
Okay.
So the name, is that Raw Industries or is that Raw?
Yeah, so it's going to be whatever name you decide to pick. When it asks for the address, this has to be the physical mailing location of the business itself. Because you guys are a podcast, you could, if you'd like, put it in here. As this business, or you could set it as your guys' home address. Just understand, like, mail is going to be coming to whatever place you put in. So if you're not wanting to drive down here every day and check the mail, you might want to, at least for a time being, have it sent to your house.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then the business address you can always change over time. It's not like you're stuck with it or whatever. It's a very simple thing. Like, you just go in and change it.
I figured you can change it, update it whenever necessary.
And it's interesting because it does say on there that it cannot be a PO box, so Idaho does not allow that.
Yeah. Yeah. And make sure you check with your state, your applicable laws. Typically, like I said, the Secretary of State's website, if it's any good, will say something to that effect of what will or won't work.
And we'll tell you, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so it'll ask for the complete street address of the business, and then it'll ask for the mailing address. I'm assuming most people that will be the same. I don't know why it would be different, but some people maybe. You'll throw in the business name of whatever business address, and then it will more than likely ask for your registered agent's name and address. Okay. And then...
Well, it would be the same right now.
Well, so like I said, you guys can either operate as your own registered agent, which would require you guys to then go file to be a registered agent.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that was you then.
Yeah, or you could just use me.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, if you guys ever get sued, I'll just happily bring you your papers. Not happily, but I will bring you your papers. I'll make sure you get your papers.
Thanks. Much appreciated.
I'm legally obligated to. And typically too, your whatever state you're in or whatever will have a function bar or something like that where you can actually search for your registered agent. So it might be your accountant. I, at some point, more than likely through my website, The Millionaire Millennial, I will actually have all the things that we're doing. I plan to have sort of like a one-stop shop
Yeah.
Where you guys can go in and click, and you'll pay like a little bit more of a fee or whatever than you would maybe per just doing it yourself with your state. But I want to have it where you can come to the Millionaire Millennial, enter all your applicable information, hit in a button, or put in your credit card information, put in a button, and we'll do all of this for you.
Yeah.
And so I will hopefully someday be like thousands of people's registered agent. We'll see. And then I don't know if I'll hand deliver you guys as your stuff when you get sued or what, but
then it's getting mailed out.
Yeah. That'd be like a surprise meet and greet, VIP meet and greet. Like, hey, what's up? You're getting sued.
Yeah,
but also,
you've been served.
You've been served. Awesome. Thanks so much for signing up through Millionaire Millennial.
Okay. So it's asking for a registered agent. Are you a commercial or a non-commercial?
I am a commercial.
Okay. And then your name,
I believe.
Name? Is it under your name?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah. It should just be my legal name.
Okay.
But tell me if it doesn't pop up, and then it'll probably be the non-commercial or individual.
Okay.
Like I said, it's been so long since I've done a lot of this stuff. It's kind of foggy, but I've got a pretty good handle on it, I believe. We'll find out in the comments below. Sierra just had a great question for me. What did you ask, Sierra?
So I was asking when you get mailed checks and it's addressed to your actual business itself, which is obviously not Sierra Madison.
Right.
How do you go to the bank and check or cash them? How do you show I am this business? This is me.
Got you. So what we're doing right now is you're creating a business and you are filing a name for the business with the Secretary of State. Mm-hmm. What that does is reserves the name of that business for you in whatever state that you're in. And then what they will do is give you what is called an EIN, which is individual identification number, I believe. Mm-hmm. So it's basically, think of it as like the social security number for your business. So you register with the state, you give them whatever filing fee for them to cover their costs, and then they'll go, okay, here's your name, here's your EIN. What you then do is take your EIN and you go to the IRS and you file it with them. Or excuse me, I believe I'm mixing this up. You might register your business name and then they go, this is your business name. Then you go to the IRS and then the IRS gives you the EIN. Okay. I'm pretty sure is what happens. And then once you have the business name and the EIN, you go to your bank, whoever that is, you tell them, hey, I've started a business. They will then ask for the business name and the EIN. Your business name should just be registered under the EIN. And then they will open up a business bank account for you, whether that's a checkings or savings or whatever.
That has the name of the business involved. So you know bringing it in that you don't have to worry about that.
And they'll ask you, are there any DBAs associated with this business, blah, 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 blah. Right. You'll tell them yes. And then the beauty of a business bank account, unlike your traditional bank account or just the way you as a W-2 employee work, like if I give you a check, you're going to go to your bank and you're going to cash it. If it's an extraordinarily large amount of money, your bank is going to be like, whoa. Like, what's up with this? There's going to be some red flags. The IRS
for your personal account. Exactly.
Yeah. The IRS potentially will flag it or whatever, right? With your business bank account, because there are businesses that have millions and millions of dollars or might secure your very first deal for $10 million, $20 million. So someone's going to cut you a check for that amount. You need to be able to go to your bank and deposit that, and say you're making t-shirts, right? And someone goes, okay, I like what you do. You're a small mom and pop company. You're making like 10 grand a year or whatever. And they go, we love everything you're doing. We're going to give you $40 million to do our line of t-shirts. You go, okay, cool. They're going to give you a deposit, say like $10 million. That's your operating money. Mm-hmm. So you immediately need to go deposit that money and then have access and use of that money. Mm-hmm. So in a traditional bank account, you cannot go deposit $10 million and then go spend $5 million.
Those accounts are not equipped like that. That's not an option.
Yeah, they're like, hell no.
Flagged. What are you doing? What's happening? Where did this come from?
Exactly. With a business bank account, they don't do that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They're used to.
They know there could be an influx of cash at any point in time.
Like 10 million, 100 million, a billion.
Regardless from 1 cent to whatever.
Yeah. I imagine if you probably go to your business bank account and deposit more than $1 million, someone's probably be like, hey, let's, they're probably gonna be addressing you by your first name, your last name at the bank, Mr. or Mrs. whoever. Can we please talk to you?
Hello.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you like to come in and talk
hither?
They're gonna want to talk to you a little bit, but. Also, that's the beauty of business bank account is you can put large sums in and take large sums out, and you are not, what would be the word, beholden to any entity that's going to come and be like, hey, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. What is this? Why are you doing that? Yeah. Because the government knows that you might get $10 million in, and that's your operating cost for something to like say that $40 million of t-shirts, and they give you 10 million. You could literally get it in one day and in 2 hours spend it on materials. And then that same company could be like, hey, fuck you, we don't want those shirts. And then you're out $10 million and your order of whatever. And that's the cost of doing business. So the government's like, hey, whatever. Like you made that money, you lost that money. They don't look at it and go, you made $10 million, pay me taxes on it.
Exactly.
A business bank account lets you kick the can down the line until the end of the year when it's tax time. Mm-hmm. Well, it's just they're not gonna go into your bank account and look around and do anything unless you get audited.
Right.
Which even then, people hear the word audited and think that's a scary term. Audited just means it's an investigation.
Right.
Yeah, they're just looking at the paper trail.
Yep.
They just want to know what's going on, and as a business, it is smart of you to know your finances and what's going on, but you should never, I'm not saying that you should like seek to make sure that you don't pay the IRS what they're due, but also as a business, it's on you to tell the IRS what they're due because they don't have the manpower.
Take your own percentages out.
Mm-hmm. And they don't know how much you're making.
Well, no. So this is what I was going to say. They are not equipped to handle every individual business's in the United States books. They just can't. They don't have the manpower. So a lot of it is them going, you show us why you did this.
Right.
And so if like
that makes sense.
Perfect example. I'm a recording artist. This year, like I bought a bunch of stuff this year. A couple of them that the IRS might be like, huh. Is like I bought like Glizzy was there. We bought like some designer clothes and shit for like a music video. So like, say I go spend $3,000 on Gucci clothes.
They're like, what the hell?
They're like, what is this? And then also I spent a few thousand. Like I don't have them in my mouth anymore. But at one point I put diamonds in my teeth.
Right.
You remember that phase?
Yes.
So like that was
a couple weeks ago.
Put them in, took them out, right? But that was like. Whatever, but I did it. We got it on film for like a music video, but also it was like my image. And so to me, it's a legitimate business expense. Like when me and the IRS sit down, when we sit down and say they want to audit me, they're gonna be like, well, why did you have to put diamond? I'm like, why wouldn't I? Name a rapper who doesn't have diamonds.
Look at this video. Tell me how fly it is.
Right. Exactly. And they go, okay, it's how much
justified.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Valid.
Yes.
Yeah. But
tracks.
People can get into like messy waters with that because then it's like, they go out and like the IRS will notice certain things. Like say you go out every fucking weekend to the same bar.
Right.
It's just like,
the porn star that gets 6 different boob jobs. It's like you can't write off all of those.
I mean, she should be able to.
You really think so?
I know. So, I mean, it's
her titties are what's selling.
Think about LeBron James. LeBron James goes to a doctor and like
they can insure their hands, their body parts. A singers can insure their vocal cord, like it.
But you can also improve it. Think about like LeBron James goes to a doctor and they put stem cells in his leg, and he's an athlete. His body is his business. So say he spends $1 million over the course of a year taking care of himself.
Technically, write off all self care.
He should. And there's certain tax code, and there's certain. Yeah, you can go if you're a dancer.
Massage every day.
If you are a girl who's a dancer, yes, your
pay
titty
for my
job.
spray tan.
If you are in the sex work industry,
same with 100. But that's the thing, 100%.
100%.
There's a lot of things people miss out on. Knowing U.S. tax code is one of the best things you can do, and knowing that the business entity that you have created is one that is, how do I put it? Making aggressive use of your tax code. Like you have an accountant who understands that we're going to pay the IRS whatever's due to them, but we're also going to look to see like what things do we not have to pay them. Perfect example, like your SUV, right? You could, as a business expense, write that thing off like 100% because it is a vehicle over 6,000 pounds. This is something that's in U.S. tax code. Any vehicle over 6,000 pounds is 100% tax deductible because of the fact that George Bush, when he was president, because they wanted gas guzzlers because that was like a new thing. Like all these SUVs are out there, and then you have to think too, like the ATF, the DEA, FBI, all these guys are riding around in big Suburbans, these massive things, and the government's like, how do we offset the tax? Because the government pays tax on shit too.
Yeah, you got to pay for a car, all the things.
Not always. So there's something too. There are, especially business to business. I'm trying to remember what it is. It's called an ST 101, which is essentially if you go to, say I'm a business, right? I sell steel, and you guys are metal workers, you're artists, right? And you're gonna make like you're gonna make a metal woman, right? Something and like give it to the city or whatever you're gonna do with it or sell it. You're gonna come to me and buy the materials, but because we're business to business, and you're turning around and you are then going to take
my business and turn it into more business.
Right. You should not have to pay tax on it. And there's some things that like qualify like
interesting.
Yeah, there's some things
loopholes.
That qualify.
Yeah.
There's not even it's just an operating cost. The government's like, dude, you're gonna go buy some wood, we're gonna make you pay tax on it, and you're gonna turn around and turn that wood into something else and then sell it. It's like, no, you bought the wood as
so just pay the taxes on the final product that's sold.
Exactly.
Yes.
Pay the sales
instead
tax.
of multiple times.
Exactly.
Yeah, because they're like, we don't want you to pay tax on your materials and then this and that and then
right.
And then
because how many times do you sell something through before it's the final product?
Right.
Right.
And that's the thing that
That's true.
That's the thing that separates businesses and people who own businesses from
Like
Joe Schmo tax.
peer-to-peer type things.
Yeah.
Yes.
You pay less in tax. Taxes. This is the people don't realize your taxes are the biggest expense you will pay in your life.
Your whole lifetime.
So gross.
That's why when you get a paycheck, they take the money from you immediately.
Instantly, because they know you.
They're not going to pay it.
Won't pay.
They're like, give me that. Hey, I know I just gave you that 1,000. Let me get 300. You're like, dude, fuck you. You're like, you're gonna be like, you know how many hours of overtime I worked? No, bro. No, like think about when you get a check and you're like, how many times you've been there? You're like, oh, I fucking got like 40 hours. Or you're just scheming on that money, and then you see it and they like taxed it weird. Right. They're like, oh, overtime hours are subject to even more.
Your nipples shrivel up. You're like,
yeah. You're like, fuck. I think there goes those Gucci boots I wanted.
Was that insulted?
Feels like. Yeah, as a business owner, you can be like, nah, like we took all the money in, we still bought the Gucci boots because I need them for whatever, and then like, sorry, it just is what it is. And then a lot of times too, if it's a business expense, you can also write it off because it depreciates. So like my computer, my car, there's certain things that like you buy like
because you use it for work and you're putting on miles to it. You know, it's not the same
and with business, the latest and greatest is always the hottest. So it's like if I go buy a hammer and this hammer is made out of wood and I'm using it for a whole year and then it breaks,
upgrade to the new hammer,
and they're made out of stone and metal, I'm like, shit. Like everyone's more productive. It's like the government really does want you. They are very cool with you making money in business and then you taking that money and instead of paying them, using the money
back into the business.
Exactly. But when you start trying to pull money out and they're like,
you bought a boat, went on 5 vacations, okay?
Sit
like,
down. We want to cut. But that's the thing too. There are people who do. That's when you start. How creative can you get? Like Grant Cardone, right? Grant Cardone's a guy. He bought like $250 million private jet, right? Which sounds fabulous, but you realize like he bought it as a business expense, and he literally offset his taxes for the next 10 years. The guy's like, dude, we're not paying, and they make millions, hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Like I think last year he made $450 million.
Right.
So he's like, yeah, we bought a private jet because I got to go do business all over the world.
Yeah.
And then this year they just traded in their old private jet for a new private jet. And it's like, and this one's more expensive than the last one.
Of course.
And I don't think he paid tax on it. And I don't think it's like, that's literally like, there are some people that get to the point where like the government goes, hey, listen, you either pay us $50 million in taxes or $60 million in taxes, whatever it is, or you go find a business expense big enough to offset this. Because they're going to go, listen, I need, fuck it. They're like, the government wants $80 million from me. Shit, let's go get instead of me giving the government $80 million, because they have the money that they made, right? They're like, we either give it to the government or we spend it in the business.
Put it back in the business.
So they go, fuck it. Let's go.
Might as well benefit from it.
They're like, we need new offices. We need new laptops. Fuck it. Let's give out bonuses. That's something too.
Everybody gets a new chair.
Employee bonuses are huge. People don't realize.
Nice. I would hope so. I would hope so.
Exactly.
But people don't realize like how to. Businesses are bad at this. Everyone has this mentality of like shrink, keep everything insular. Don't like everyone has this very small thing, and like the last thing they want to do is spend. A lot of businesses, last thing they want to do is spend money on employees. They'd rather like have an employee. They might be the best employee ever. You've seen this a million times. Best employee ever comes in, and they work really hard, and then after a while, because the employee wants things to change and be different, the company's like, it's easier to literally like let you go,
replace
than
fall in line, or you're just a number.
Yeah, and that's
in the wheel.
Yeah, they don't care.
And that's where I, as a business, start to look to like do different things. It's like, I think certain things are worth more. It's like if as a business I have an $80 million tax bill, you could take $1 million and dump it directly back into employee bonuses, employee training, doing things that make people want to stay. You're like, fuck it, let's give everyone four days of paid vacation or whatever.
I mean, I think that's usually my issue with most corporate, is they don't actually care about their employees. They don't actually make a difference and make those changes and listen to your questions, comments, and or concerns. They don't care, and they're hands off, and they just kind of sweep it up under the rug and do it the corporate way, and they don't deal with you.
Yeah.
And it's super impersonal, and I just don't think that's the best way to handle a business, because if you have happy employees, you're gonna thrive. It's going to do better, just matter of fact, because if you have happy employees that feel comfortable and heard in an environment, like it's just creating a safer space.
Yeah, and it's like you have to know how to.
They do more for you and the company because they're happy with you and the company.
Yeah, quid pro quo. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. I care a lot more at jobs that give a shit.
That's the hope, but I mean you have to understand too the way a lot of businesses are set up. They're set up under these models. Like, have you guys ever heard of the Wharton Business School? So like,
I think
Warren Buffett.
Heard of that.
You guys know of Warren Buffett?
Yeah.
So Warren Buffett went to like the Wharton School of Business. That's where like a lot of these dudes who run massive corporations, like daddy sends them off. It's like there's like Ivy League schools, Harvard and Yale, whatever. And like the Trumps, I'm pretty sure they went to the Wharton School of Business.
Right.
And a lot of these places were ran by these professors who are massive business guys, but they have a school of thought and a philosophy on business that stems from like in the 60s, 70s, where they would go in and go, okay, let me buy this business, whatever it is. And then instead of necessarily improving the product or anything, how do we start saving money across the board? And they'll be like, well, kill a department. Right? Who's
downsize?
Yeah. Here's your.
That just happened to one of my friends. The whole media department got cut.
They're like, fuck you guys.
Yep.
They're like, because they
You're
can.
expendable.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's not because it's going to help the business. It all it does is put more money either back into, like with a member managed LLC. You guys might have made it this business and been like, hey, fuck it, we're stepping away, we're putting a CEO in place, whatever else, and you're just like, dude, make it profitable. I do not care what you do. Make my business make me more money. And they might be, okay, cool. Like when you guys were here, you had a whole media department, and that's $800,000 going out the door to pay these 7 people's salaries. Yeah. Fuck it. Let's destroy that whole department. We're gonna give you guys $600,000, and then we're gonna take 80,000 of that and try and shoestring something together for your media marketing, whatever. And maybe it works. Maybe they're really good at it. Maybe they're not. There's a lot of
Maybe that comes back to fucking bite them in their asshole because you just let go all of the qualified people that you have.
Yeah. Or maybe it's a good thing. It all depends. It's up to every individual business. But there are whole businesses built on this. There's a business. They're called Sigma 6 or Six Sigma. And they have like a philosophy where they will literally go in as like corporate Six Sigma people, like go do their voodoo in like a company, go like literally like embed themselves in all the departments and just chill. And then after like 3 months, just come to their like Sigma 6 leaders and be like, hey, we recommend that you just kill half this department and that you like promote this person, and then change everything this department does to like this Six Sigma way of doing this. And
I mean, that sounds like a superior way of cutting the fat, though.
It's not, you would think, but there's been a lot of things too where people are like, dude, it doesn't do shit. Like this Six Sigma comes in and fucking destroys our company, and like we make a bunch of money in like the short term. And this is the thing, like this is business. A lot of people like will swear and die by these things because they're just systems. They're systems that they're raised in. They're like, dude, I'm a six. Like there's someone right now who is making $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year, working for Six Sigma, and they have like in Six Sigma you achieve like, if I remember correctly, because I'm not a Six Sigma person, I think like the 6th level of Six Sigma is like you're enlightened. You're like the ultimate Six Sigma person, and they're like, no, you don't understand. We are like there's a. Six Sigma is a system. Yeah. So it's not only a company, but it is like a way of doing business, and it's a way that they are taught to look at things a certain way. They are like trained for it. And the more proficient they become at it, they go and implement the Six Sigma policies in these places. But there have been companies that are like, dude, we brought Six Sigma in and it's a shit show. It's
that's not what we wanted. That's not how you designed it, because they do it left to right, up and down, and that's it. That's all it is.
It might not even be effective. It's just, it's like, yo, Six Sigma came in and fucking, we made an extra $100,000 this year, or we didn't. Maybe we lost money because we paid them $5 million, but nothing changed. Nothing improved within the company once they stepped away. Right. But this is the thing. A lot of businesses are ran by people that don't, like Six Sigma to me is like damn near voodoo. It's like you going, hey, we have a business and we're going to trust someone who doesn't work in this business to come in.
Yeah, you don't know it.
And tell you how to redo it. And that doesn't mean that there's...
It's like managers who haven't worked your job. Don't talk to me until you've done it. Like, who are you coming, like, get out of my face.
But then a lot of times too, there are people and companies that come in that are like awesome at that. They might come in and be like, hey, we just looked at your company and we're not like hiring, firing, doing nothing. We're just watching what your process is. And we realize like, maybe your culture...
This is some of the data that we've kind of conducted.
Yeah, they're like, maybe your culture is broken. Maybe your hiring practices suck. Maybe like everybody that you bring in wants to be there, but like retaining them is really hard because your pregnancy policy sucks or whatever, right?
Managers are talking trash.
Yeah. Six Sigma will come in and be like, this is blanket. You guys aren't following the Six Sigma way of doing things.
Yeah,
Let us
it's
mold
not that
you
black and white.
Right.
Yeah. Some people might be. It depends.
I mean, I'm sure it works for certain structures, but yeah.
And there's entities like that across the board.
Exactly.
Yeah. But that's just people, a lot of times, like I said, in business, people don't know how to address certain things, or people aren't. A lot of it comes down to like how you're talking about how companies won't treat their employees right. They don't see the value in
there's
something.
No worth in a human.
Well, but even beyond that, it's just you have to understand you're dealing with people, right? So like, okay, you're a business owner, right? I'm going to come into you and go, hey, what's up? Hey, how much money did you make last year? Let's just make up a number, right? Let's say $1 million.
Sure.
The company brought in $1 million. I'm like, okay, cool. What's your biggest problem in your company? Is it hiring people? Is it making them stay? Is it closing deals? Is it like let's move away from like your equipment, right? Like it's like if you don't have the right equipment in your company and you're not willing to spend the money on that, I can't. Like if you're a carpenter and you won't buy your guys hammers, I can't do anything about that.
Yeah, I can't help you.
Right. Like if you're unwilling to open up your wallet, but you have to make people understand like the value in something, right? So I can go, okay, how much are you spending on your employees like per year? And they're like, well, we're not spending anything. We hire them, they work and whatever, but we don't train them. I'm like, okay, if I could get you to buy my training program, that costs $10,000. Immediately, most business owners, like they hear 10,000, like I'm out. Yeah. We ain't got $10,000. Blah blah. I'm like, but if you could spend that 10,000 and that 10,000 equipped your employees to make you each one $100,000 more a month, would that be worth it to you?
Totally.
And they'll be like, yeah, easy. But then you still got to make them open up their wallet.
It's like gamble,
right? And that's where you have to prove your value to certain things, and so. That's really difficult because businesses a lot of times don't know where to turn. There's a lot of businesses start as like sole props, or it's someone like you guys. You're like, we have an idea, we want to do something, and you start doing it, and then you're in the marketplace and you achieve some level of success or lack thereof, and you're like, fuck, where do we move? Where do we go from here?
Right.
Like we don't know how to scale.
It's like the red triangles, green octagons.
And you might just be stuck. You're like, dude, I know. I mean, we haven't sold a red square in 5 years, but we still make them. And you're like, why?
No, stop making them.
Right.
But people don't do it. It's just like you look at dry. If you go look at like Kitchen Nightmares, right, with Gordon Ramsay on it, a lot of those. That's something because I like that show. I like Gordon Ramsay.
That. I love him too.
Yeah, I do too. I watch the so I like watching him cuss people out. But he'll like sit there and you'll see like these business owners or people who are like very passionate. They love their family. They do whatever, but they have zero concept of what it takes to run a restaurant. But they're like, I love the restaurant industry. And I'm like, dude, you don't. You don't
know the restaurant industry. You just love the idea of restaurants.
Yeah, and you have a restaurant and you're doing your thing, but you don't realize like your process is broken. Like you don't have the right cooks. You have a shitty menu. Your menu's hard to read. Your cooks aren't fucking trained to execute this menu. Your menu's overly complicated. You want to do it all because you're like, oh, well, grandmama made fucking Italian food, but now like there was a crab shop that opened up next door and we saw that was successful, so we tried to emulate that, and then you're doing both things really shitty.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, dude, you need someone who's an expert in it and come in and be like, dude, stop, do this, do this, do this. And a lot of times with businesses, there's a lot of people out there selling their system or whatever, and a lot of times people get to the point where they're paralyzed by the fear to move or do anything. They're like, listen, we're not making really hardly any money, but this is just what works, so we're going to keep doing it.
I mean, I just wish people weren't so afraid of ignorance and were willing to at least try to seek out the answers. Yeah, that's how you have to.
People are not typically like, most people are pretty risk adverse.
That's true.
It's hard. It's especially like for me, right, like I like not to put my business too far out, but like I come from the streets and whatever else. I've had a lot of failures in life. So for me, I'm like, fuck it. What's next? Like, let me jump into something. If it doesn't work out, I'll pivot. I'll do something else. Whatever.
You keep going. That's what life's about. You know, not everything's gonna be a win. Yeah. And honestly, you learn and you grow the most from the losses, and that's how you kind of reevaluate your situation. And by then, you've known a little bit more about yourself, and you kind of know which direction you want to take it now.
Right. If you never have any losses or challenges, then you basically stay the same. So it's like, what is the good in that?
Yeah, as long as you're just putting your heart into it and being passionate about things, you know, it's okay to be a jack of all trades. And you know, you don't have to be.
As long as you're doing them well.
Yeah, just try it out. Give it your best, and you kind of, I don't know, you'll see what fits.
Yeah, I think for me personally, it's something that I'm very much with, like the idea that like I don't need to make all the traditional stumbles and mistakes that most business owners do to get
learn from other people's mistakes.
Google's doing an awesome job.
Yeah.
Apple, Facebook, all these guys, I can look at their model and go like, what are they doing right? What are they doing wrong? What can I realistically do and implement to emulate any of that or none of that or whatever and go from there.
Yeah.
So
it's awesome.
Yeah. This podcast has ran long.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys. I would love to have you guys on again if you want. I know there's more we need to like dive into.
Yeah, I would love to get in. I would love to be on the episode with cryptocurrencies and NFTs and stuff.
Yeah, whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm sure you'll be on Raw Unfiltered.
I'm with it. Yeah. No, I'm with it. I've got artists and stuff for you guys too if you ever
excite.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. So this episode is running super long at this point in time, and we've had some technical difficulties here and there, just as far as our camera video capture goes and some of the stuff that
Secretary of State stuff.
Yeah, but we'll sort all that stuff out. We can always come back and do it live, or we just update people. Like we can
let you know how we did it and the exact steps we took to get the LLC official.
Yeah, and if nothing else, this has hopefully been something that's been informative for people who've wanted to get something out of it.
Yep.
Get the ball rolling for you guys.
Yeah, and then hopefully, like I said, I'm gonna have to look at our website and see all what's up and where you guys can yell at us about whatever. But like, share, comment, check us out, and then let us know, I guess, what more you want to hear from us, or if this was or wasn't helpful. If you want to see more of the girls, more of Glizzy, more of more of whatever. So just tune in. So I guess we'll wrap that up for now, and then also tune in to Raw and Unfiltered. You guys are gonna be doing. Is it gonna be like a once weekly podcast? Or what are you guys trying to do?
It's just gonna be one and done. We just did the LLC and just like one and done.
You're gonna do one episode and start a business.
24 hours of pure podcast.
Okay.
Pure chaos.
And that's 20. That'd be like 24 episodes. That'd be like that would be.
I like it.
That'd be like a half a year.
We could probably do at least a solid 12. No problem. Put us on a road trip or some shit.
Okay.
It works. Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for being on. I appreciate it. Look for the girls, and then hopefully I will have episode 3 coming up here shortly, and then at some point have the girls back on.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Bye.
Hi, this is Stack Banks. Thanks for listening to The Millionaire Millennial. Be sure to check out our social medias and give us a share, like, and follow on TikTok at The Millionaire Millennial. Our Instagram is The Millionaire Millennial Podcast, or on our website at www.anchor.fm/millions.